The return of Bayou Breauxs is here. Of course, the newest, greatest podcast talking only about Saints football, as well as other things going around the league, because me and your co-host, Nolan, just love talking football. Of course, you can find this podcast on all podcast platforms, as well on YouTube for the video version. This is presented by Nate Dogg Sports and produced by Nate Dogg Productions. I am your co-host, Nate Dogg, joined by co-host Nolan Lee. After the Saints' big victory over the Carolina Panthers, 47-10. Oh my gosh, my brother. Who would have thought? We were nervous like a couple weeks ago, and now we're coming out here 37-point win. I mean, my God, bro. Come on.
I mean, we were cooking, bro. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, it was just an awesome game. Like, from top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams, QB, running back. Everybody had a piece of the puzzle. Heck, we even had a block on special teams. I am so pumped up after that first game. We played Carolina, but it is hard to win by 37 points in the NFL. It is hard to put up 47 points in any game, no matter who is playing. So, awesome day for Saints fans. Awesome day for our team. Awesome day for our coaches. What a way to start the year, man.
Come on. Couldn't have said it any better, dude. It is literally, you can't have a better start, and we're going to talk about the Carolina Panthers and what's going on over there. We're not idiots. We understand that probably is the worst team in the league. But if you're talking about the worst team in the league, that's what you're supposed to do against the worst team in the league. You beat them by 37. You put the game away early. We did exactly what we were supposed to do. Somehow, that's still not going to get the credit it deserves. I understand. It's early in the year. But, yes, for the fan base, that was, man, we were going into the season, it was one of those years that felt like for the Saints fans, the anticipation wasn't as high as it usually is, or we expect to be great, and recently we haven't, and it was a low for us coming in this year. But for us to do that, the importance of it is that now the fan base is back on board. Now everyone believes in Derek Carr, and Dennis Allen still got some work to do, but they believe in the offense, they believe in Kent Kupiak, and the defense was still the defense. So this game meant so much for us in this season. I don't even know if you can tell with my voice right now. My voice is shot. This morning I couldn't even talk. Luckily, I was able to recover enough to do the podcast tonight. But, man, it literally could not have been a better start, like you said, bro.
Yeah, I'm pumped up, man. Like, this is what we were expecting last season. Now, like we said I believe we said this in the first pod, like there were a lot of high expectations for a team that was, starting with a brand new quarterback. And so, but this is what we were looking towards. This is what we thought that a Derek Carr-led offense could look like. I mean, Derek Carr's not Patrick Mahomes, but that dude is not a bum. Like, he is a solid quarterback in the NFL. He's top 15, if not I'd have to go through the list of starting quarterbacks, but I think you can make an argument that he's arguably a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. That's going to be a great soundbite, but I genuinely believe that he's not a bad player, and the dude was like, he can when he gets time. Heck, he was throwing some great passes on the run too. It just overall, I couldn't have been more excited for Derek, and I'm just excited to see what this offense can achieve. That's what all the players kept talking about. They were like, we saw a glimpse of what they can be. It seems like that this year, this season, this offense, their goals are so clearly defined. Their expectations for what they want to do offensively, there's a clear end picture for them, it looks like. So I'm just excited to see us play again next week. I mean, I was ready to play the Cowboys right after the game ended.
Oh, literally. I just wanted to test this. I wanted to see if this team is actually that good, or Carolina is that bad.
Well, that's what I looked at you and said. I was like, I'm glad that we're going to play a worthy opponent next week on the road. Like we talked about, these first 5 weeks are going to be tough for the Saints. But if they got the first one out of the way that we needed to win. If they can go into Jerry's World next week and get a win, I mean, dude, you're setting yourself up for a hell of a start, because if we can go in there and win that game, then we get to come home to play Philadelphia. And Philadelphia looked good too.
Yes.
So, I think that the fan base was into that Carolina game. They're going to be into that Eagles game if we're 2-0. And I think that the Saints fans will make a difference in that game in a couple weeks. But first First task, beat Dallas.
Beat Dallas. Get back on the. Get back in the winning column once again. Stay on that winning column. But now, one little thing before we get into this, that to your point about Derek Carr, is that it was something that D-Butt said on Pat McAfee today. Right now is the time that it is okay to have a decent quarterback. If you have a decent quarterback, don't let that guy go, because guess what? Not every quarterback is Patty Mahomes. And guess what? We saw a lot of bad quarterback play this week. So for you to get decent quarterback play, it's enough to win. And I'm to the point where it's like, listen, we already locked Derek Carr up. We can't get rid of him. I'm okay with having a decent quarterback. We don't need a Patrick Mahomes, I don't think. A lot of people don't need a Patrick Mahomes. So many people are so worried about getting these superstars and they miss, or they're so worried that they're coming out here looking like Patty Mahomes that they're not doing the right things. They're not going out there winning football games. And that's my thing, is like, Derek's a winner, He's not a Super Bowl champion, I know that, but he is a gritty football player that I would love to win with, and I think the team would love to win with. And right now, I'm okay if my quarterback is 15th or 18th in the league. If we're winning football games and he's looking like that, throwing 200 yards over 80% completion percentage, I am A-okay, brother. I don't need 100 rushing yards on the ground and 10, 4 or 5 Superman plays. I'm okay with the execution running the ball. So I just wanted to get that point out there. We just saw so much bad quarterback play, and for people to keep hating on Derek, be happy we got Derek instead of some of these other quarterbacks that are out there right now.
I'll say no disrespect to what they got going on in Las Vegas, but I guarantee they wish they had Derek Carr right now.
Yes, exactly. But let's keep this thing going, man. Let's get into the actual game, get a little bit more in-depth. Obviously, we have talked highly on the Saints, but it was a blowout. It was a dominant performance from start to finish. There was never a moment where the Saints were ever in threat of losing this game. So, besides that, obviously there's a takeaway from this. Nolan, what were you able to find? Because sometimes when you're in these big games, these big blowouts, there's too many takeaways. So what was your biggest takeaway from this one?
My biggest thing was how different the offense looked. It finally looked like our offense was tuned for the players that we have. Like, get Taysom Hill the ball in his hands without having to throw it to him. Run it. Run the ball with him. Put him a tailback. Put Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill and Derek Carr in the backfield right next to each other. Only good things can happen with that happening. If your O-line is blocking, you are so my biggest takeaway is that the offense just looked so good. The motions, everything felt so intentional. Like I said before, it's like they're trying to accomplish something. They're trying to get somewhere with this offense, and every motion was intentional, every play was intentional. It was all trying to set up the big plays and everything in between. So the offense was incredible. That's probably my biggest takeaway. My second biggest takeaway is just D.A. knows how to coach a defense, man. D.A. knows how to coach a defense. Give that man credit where credit is due. He has that defense ready. And that D-line is something. Like, Chase didn't get home. He didn't sack the quarterback, but he should have, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go back and look at the stats to make sure that's accurate. He was very close a lot of times. I mean, he was just so disruptive. And, Alontae Taylor, what is that? First DB for New Orleans to get 3 sacks all at one time, all in one game. I mean, that is just incredible. I mean, they have found a way to get him involved and keep him active, because getting Kool-Aid, I thought that he might see a little bit of his playtime decrease. So, it was really cool to see that the Saints defense is still innovating, still trying to find ways to get all these players to work together and find their ways of, making an impact on the game. And then also the Saints offense was just so fun to watch. It was fun to watch. Like, There was so many fun plays. And then the last thing I'll say is that I loved that this team fought until basically the moment we pulled the starters. Like, they were actively trying to get touchdowns. They didn't have to punt until they basically put in the backups. They scored on their first 9 possessions of the game. I look at it as we were up probably at least 30 points, I think, at this point, or maybe it's 28 or 30 points, but we get a block punt. Like, there is no reason for you to feel like you have to go block this punt. But Juwan Johnson making a killer play, keep the momentum. Don't, when you have an opponent in a spot where you can take them out, just keep the gas pedal. Never let up yesterday. So that was exciting to see. I think that's exactly what the fans were looking for, and I'm sure that's what that team was looking for too.
Yeah, you speak about the gas pedal, and DA said it during his post game that we went out there to win the game, not to lose the game, and it felt like that, when they put the gas pedal down, they didn't look back, and I agree with that, and kind of to your point with the offense, my biggest takeaway is just it finally looked like a team that knew what it wanted to do. It's very similar to your offensive point where the offense looked like it knew what it wanted to do. It knew that it wanted to set up the plays with the motion and then use those setups later in the game for deep shots or something. And and we saw it early with Rashid Shaheed when he was found deep. That was set up, and for me, it's just that it looked so different. It just did not look like the same Saints team last year. And we talked so much about DA, and it has abundantly come clear to me that he had absolutely no say in this offense last year. And I get it. A lot of head coaches wouldn't if they're not offensive-minded head coaches. But, man, the whirlwind from last year to this year in just one game. It was, like you said, completely different. Way more modern, way more motions, way better running game. It was a more effective running game. And like you said, it played to our players' strengths. Running game played to our players' strengths. We ran to the outside more. Alvin Kamara wasn't just running straight through the freaking middle every single play anymore. And they were able to mask some of those offensive line questions, Coming into the year, that was our biggest question mark, and it was not a problem, and I get it. Derek Brown went down in that game, and their offensive line is not the best one since Brian Burns is out there, but it's one of those, we had issues going in this game, and I didn't see a single one, which that's the biggest thing for me, too, about this game. Carolina is really bad, but they executed, and that – I think every Saints fan in the world was going to just jump off of a bridge if we had to hear DA say, we just got to execute more. We just got to execute more. If we heard that one more time last year, I think we're all going to just be sick and tired of this team. And, but they did that. They executed, and they executed to a high level, and that's how they did what they did. So my biggest takeaway is that this team just looks different. And coming to the year, I wanted to see the difference. And if it wasn't one of these massive differences where I was like, hey, we put up 20 points, 20-0, offense was, we moved the ball, we still struggled in the red zone, then I would be a little concerned. But seeing how different it was and how confident they were and how effective they were and efficient, it was just, for me, it's like, oh, okay, this offense is a normal offense, the modern offense. Now, can they do it against the better defenses, the best defenses in the league? That's the question that we want to see, and we'll get answers for. But, they did what they're supposed to do. Like I said earlier, they did what they're supposed to do to a team that is very dysfunctional and has a lot of issues and a lot of holes. So, that's my biggest takeaway, though. It's just it's a different team, man.
Also, Rashid Shaheed is, a really good receiver, too. What a game from him. Hits the deep play at the beginning of the game. I'm not trying to start some controversy or anything. It's not one of those things where I'm saying that Rashid's better than Chris Olave, but it's one of those things where it's Rashid Shaheed don't need to be slept on, man. This dude is a certified stud. This guy's good at football, man. What a get for the Saints. He has just been nothing but incredible.
Literally, dude. That's all I can think about is when he got that touchdown. It's just how is this guy missed? How did they miss on him? All these other teams. It's like Brock Purdy.
That dude's fast, bro. He's fast. He's quick, bro. He just burnt that dude. What a play to start the year. First touchdown of the year. Just set it up so perfectly. I love listening to the players talk about that play. They talked about how they run it in practice, and they were excited when Clint called it, and they had the look, and safety stayed down. Derek gave him a good look, and the rest is history. Put a good ball, and Derek had a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah,
on
he
that
did.
throw,
and he
too.
held it for a long time, waited for it to develop.
we were standing there waiting, like we were like, get the ball out, because it was third down. It was third down. We were like, get it out, Derek, come on. And when he let that thing go, you were like, got it. He's got it.
Yeah, and that was against J.C. Horn. That wasn't against some bum corner, backup corner. That's one of the better corners, and that's their best corner and one of the better ones in the league. You know, like
what did Derek Carr?
I got 3 on you, brother. I got 3 on you.
I got 3 on you. On you.
I loved it, dude. I loved it. God, that's the mentality what everybody wanted to see from Derek. That's the mentality he had with the Raiders, and now that he's gonna, if he keeps doing that and playing like that and acting like that, he's gonna win this fan base back real quick. That's why this game was so important.
Through the tension, on the other side of that, you can really build really good relationships. Mm-hmm. All I remember at the beginning of the season last year was that, you remember Derek Carr just like chewing out the players all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dude, you haven't built a relationship to be doing this with them. But I think through that, I think that nobody's going to question how much Derek Carr wants to be a great quarterback. Nobody's going to question how much he wants to win. And I think now that we're on the other side of that, and they see that this guy comes in the facility, works his tail off, tries to get better every single day, I think the players are rooting for Derek just as much as the fans are at this point. If not more. I guarantee that the players want Derek to be successful. So, I mean, that's his mentality this year has been incredible. I mean, he was on this John Gruden podcast talking about just kind of like how he just kind of tore his system apart that he's been using. Not completely apart, but he just kind of was like, time to go, let's go back to the drawing board. What are the things I really like doing? And he built his system to model that. He took some things from college. He took some things from his first couple years in the league. And, I think he simplified and found the ways that worked for him and, just made everything a little bit more clear. I think that everything when it comes to the Saints for Derek and the offense everyone has been so much more intentional and more clear with what their roles are. What are they supposed to do? So it's been exciting to watch.
Yeah, and then that would make sense because it looked so clean, just clean. It looked like everybody knew what they were supposed to do, and they played to everybody's strengths, like you said. So what a win. What a win. Great feeling for us to get this win. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Obviously, the Panthers are really bad. I'm just curious, what's your thoughts? How bad do you actually think the Panthers are? Do you really think they are the worst team? I mean, in my opinion, that was one of the worst week 1 showings from a team in a long time.
Yeah, I like to – one of the things I've always liked to do is I like to go watch the the podcasts and the radio interviews with people of the fan bases that we played against. And I was just really curious to see what some of these Panthers talk show hosts were kind of saying this morning. And so many of them are just like, we've hit a low. Like, we thought it was going to be bad. We lowered our expectations, but they've kind of hit rock bottom, it feels like. And, the conversation has now become, is Bryce Young the guy? I mean, dude, Bryce Young looked horrible yesterday.
Very.
I mean, his first play from scrimmage was a pick. His first pass of the season was a pick. Brother was he was all thrown off by that Saints defense from the start, but he just missed. Like that first pick, it wasn't like it was some tipped ball or something. I mean, it was like a straight throw to the defense. Even his second pick, complete overthrow, missed him probably by like 5 yards. And I'm not like talking down. I know Lord knows I couldn't do that, but it's like from an organizational standpoint, the Panthers are really going to be having a conversation of, is Bryce the guy? I personally think that they should go to Andy, and Bryce needs to just watch a veteran do it. Now, because, the thing is Panthers, seriously going to try to make you don't want to throw the season away on your first game, but, I don't know. If your future is Bryce Young, what is the best thing for Bryce Young? Is the future for Bryce Young to sit back and watch another quarterback operate, or is it to just go out there and try to get better? And I don't know. He looked horrible, and there wasn't a lot of great things that either side of the ball did, because we talk bad about Bryce Young, but that Panthers defense, they didn't have anything to stop the Saints. The Saints basically did whatever they wanted. So to circle back and answer your question after everything I've said, I think that the Panthers are a really horrible team. I really think that they are just not a good football team, which, it hurts to say because you don't want to talk down on the opponent that you just beat the crap out of. But we have to manage our expectations too, but I started thinking about it too. It's like, those are still professional athletes. Those are still guys that went to college and were really incredible. And, our guys were better than their guys. And that's just as simple as it is. I don't know what the Panthers do from here, but the Panthers are going to be, you never think a team is ever going to not win a game, but the way they played yesterday, it was bad. It was bad. But to kind of give the Saints, and the last thing I'll say about this is to give the Saints some credit, it's really hard to be a really bad team and win like that. You know what I mean? So I don't want to take away from what the Saints did, because that was impressive. They were basically able to do whatever they wanted. Somebody said it was like Bobby Hebert said it was like watching the varsity play the JV. It's just like, so Carolina's going to be bad this year, it looks like, but it's week 1. The Saints beat the Aaron Rodgers led, Packers. Couldn't they beat them 35-3 a few years back with Jameis Winston, baby?
Jameis.
So, nobody's saying or claiming that Bryce Young is Aaron Rodgers, but it's week 1. So, you learn a lot when you lose. So, but I do think that the Panthers are a really bad team.
Very. It's crazy, man. Like, how, for me, it's just, how does this team get worse? That's the biggest question for me. That's what everyone on these podcasts were saying. They're like, we were managing our expectations, but we brought in these offensive linemen, and, we got this young guy in the draft, and he didn't really make an impact. And, we brought in this new coach, and Bryce Young was supposed to take a step forward. All the excuses for Bryce Young last year was that he was a rookie, he's going to learn. And it kind of just came back out, and they basically were saying that, it's all just the same as it was before. So, or worse. So we'll see. I'll kind of let you take it over from there, but that's basically what you were saying is it just doesn't seem like they made any improvements. They actually got worse. So. Yeah, man. Sorry, y'all. I'm grabbing my charger. But, it's ridiculous. How a team that was so bad, and we gave a lot of grace to Bryce, and everyone has. For a long time, people have talked about how, this team is horrible. Hang on. Let me plug this in, y'all.
I'll cover. You're good. I had a thought. So, I was watching Bryce yesterday, and I don't know if you'll feel the same way. I'm sure you will. He's so small, dude. It's like, you don't look at him, not to say that there's one way to, there's one look to a quarterback, but man, he just does not look like the guy that you would give your franchise to. No. I don't know. He's not very accurate.
He doesn't have a big arm.
He doesn't have a big arm. He's not incredibly fast. He's got some wheels, but he's no C.J. Stroud, Lamar Jackson. He just doesn't have the speed.
And not even have the speed. He never even looks to run. That's not in his. No, he's not
a running quarterback.
No.
So he's got a lot going against him when it comes to playing in the big league, man. Not a big arm, not very accurate. So I feel bad for him, but. Yeah. It's starting to look like a bust for me.
Yeah, and how bad the Panthers are, and that's the question here. And for me, it's genuinely that is one of the worst NFL performances I've ever seen. I want to give the Saints as much credit as possible. I think we have a great defense, and I think we have a great offense so far, talented at least offense. But for the Saints that couldn't score the ball at all last year to come out week 1 with a new offensive coordinator and new players and a new scheme to put up 47 on you, that's not a good look, man. That's a horrible – it's one thing if it's the Chiefs. It's one thing if it's the Eagles. It's one thing if it's the 49ers. It's the Saints. This is a team that could not score last year, bro. We could not find big plays, and we found multiple in this game. And to your point about Bryce Young and even taking him out, I don't even hate the idea because – if you have told yourself, all right, no matter how bad this guy is, and he has played not great football so far, he's still our guy, you recognize that this team is not good enough to win in many games, if any, the best thing you can do for him is obviously he can watch a veteran do it, but also it's one way to keep his ass healthy, man. You know, I mean, if he's out there, that offensive line couldn't protect him to save their life. You know, I mean.
That dude he kept getting hit. Every time he dropped back, it felt like there was pressure.
It was 4 sacks, but it felt like it was every single play. And to your point earlier about Chase Young, he had 2 quarterback hits. So he did get back there 2 times. And they don't have pressures on here, but I imagine he had even more pressures than QB Hicks. So you got all these guys, and the Saints showed that they can rotate pretty well on the defensive line as well. And we got these fresh defensive linemen. They're hungry, man. And, you know, the Panthers, man, as much as I want to say the Saints are that team and they have the best offense and Derek Carr's back and, you know, we're going to be the best team in the NFC, as much as I want to say that, I'm not an idiot. I understand how bad the Panthers are, and I think we both do that, hey, the Panthers are not good. But, like I said earlier, and I think I've said it twice, give the Saints some credit, because guess what? If they are so bad, if they are the worst team in the league, that is what you're supposed to do to the worst team in the league, y'all. Like, come on. I mean, I get it. The Saints can give the flowers once and never bring it up again. I'm cool with that. But for you to just only talk about how bad the Panthers are, it's kind of a little disrespectful. But
yeah,
I do understand how bad the Panthers are. They are atrocious.
Yeah. Look, I get it. And honestly, you know, offense is one thing, but everybody's been talking about how the Panthers defense is supposed to be like kind of okay and kind of good. So, you know, I mean, give us a little bit of credit. I mean, you know, it would be impressive if the Chiefs beat the Panthers 47-10. You know what I mean? Like, so, like you said, we deserve a little bit of flowers for that win.
Yeah.
Too.
if it's a 15-minute freaking celebration, I could get a 15-second celebration. I could give 2 craps, but at some point you got to recognize, hey, maybe these Saints got some players, man. Hey.
Look, Tom Brady was talking about on the broadcast. He was like, Saints put up 47. That's pretty. They got Dallas next week. That's going to be fun to watch. They're covering that game, and then Luke Kuechly told Kay Adams today. He said the Saints are better than what people think. Saints are better than what people think. So we'll see. I mean, you just look at the offense, man. Like, I'm just so excited to see. Like, you put Taysom Hill at running back. It's like, this is where this guy – it's like this guy with him it's just – I'm so excited to see where everything goes. Because there were a couple plays missed here and there. I remember that play that Juwan had over the middle. He threw the touch – he tried to hit Taysom in the back corner of the end zone. And Taysom had it in his hands but dropped it. But, you know, you don't know what the read is. You know, you don't even know if Derek is ever supposed to look there anyway. But Juwan was wide open over the middle, but it would have been touchdown. So there are things to clean up. And then the biggest thing that we haven't talked about is that penalties. Mm-hmm. You know, if there was any negative to the game, it was penalties. We had like 10 penalties. So you ain't going to be able to have 10 penalties next week against the Cowboys and expect to win.
Yeah.
So if there is any negative to what happened yesterday, was that we were pretty penalized yesterday.
Yeah, 10 for 95 yards. Yeah, you can't do that against the Cowboys. Cannot in Jerry's world. But yeah, I completely agree. And man, give the Saints some credit. But hey, as fans, we know we're not idiots. We know that we should have beat that team like that, and we did. So, you know, we're happy, but. Keep this thing rolling, man. Let's keep this thing, keep the wins coming for the Saints. But, you know, it was the Panthers. Let's see what the Panthers can do next week. But obviously, we'll be looking ahead to the Cowboys. But let's look into the division a little bit deeper as well, because we got some interesting finishes in our division. You know, coming into the year, the favorites on many betting websites or apps, whatever you want to call them, had the Falcons as the favorite for this division. They come in against the Steelers, a very staunch defense with Justin Fields in at quarterback, as Russell Wilson was nursing an injury, and they go out there and lose to the Steelers. Big win for the Steelers and a crazy loss for the Falcons. Nolan, I'll send this one to you. You know, just give me your overall thoughts on this game. I mean, we weren't able to watch it, but we kept up with it. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I want to do a little bit more. I want to watch the highlights and stuff more, but just based on what I've heard so far, it sounds like the Steelers' defense is the Steelers' defense. They're one of the best defenses in the league, so they apparently played pretty well. And then just the offense couldn't get going. Now your starting quarterback just came off of Achilles, so my first instinct, my first thought is that this is somewhat similar to what happened with Derek last year. Derek coming in, brand new QB, kind of a vet. Has been in systems, a bunch of different systems before, and it's just going to take a little time to build the chemistry with some of your guys. So that Falcons loss, it's like, I'm not too worried. They could be awful. The Falcons could be bad, but at the same time, I'm not going to worry too much because the Steelers defense is incredible. The Falcons offense is going to, it's going to take a little time to figure out. Get some chemistry between everybody. The head coach and everybody is going to be working together to, find their rhythm. So it just felt like it was like, we're putting this thing together and we haven't quite figured it out yet. And then, the Steelers, Steelers won the way the Steelers win, score points, take what the defense gives you. And, cool. I'm happy for Justin Fields, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Chris Boswell should be the freaking MVP of the week for them, man. It held the entire league, bro. 6-6, didn't miss a field goal. Had to come in for the punter that tore his ACL and had to make a big-time punt with 3 minutes left in the game. Chris Boswell deserves his respect. That guy went crazy for them and literally the only reason.
He better win Special Teams Player of the Week.
If he doesn't, then there's literally something wrong with everything that's about life. But, yeah, I think, honestly, you hit that one on the head. I agree that, first of all, I thought the Falcons were going to be a little bit better than I actually think. I thought they were going to be better than they actually are. And to go to the other team in our division, the Bucs might be a little bit better than I thought they were going to be. So, but for the Falcons here, I think you're right. I think it's early season. There's some rust with Kirk Cousins coming back, new players, new scheme, new team. I think there's going to be a little bit of a grace period there. I think the biggest thing for the Falcons here, I know that Fields was in and offense is for the Steelers. There's no world beater and it hasn't been in a long time, but you held them to 18, didn't allow them to get any touchdowns. That's pretty impressive, So for a Falcons defense that has struggled to get after the passer and, has had some struggles in the secondary over the last few years, I thought that was a pretty solid showing. They still allowed 137 on the ground. But they held Justin Fields pretty chill through the air, and he did end up with 57 on the ground. But for the Steelers, I think golly, T.J. Watt is an absolute menace, dude. I know you haven't got to watch the highlights, dude. That dude, he is the best defensive player.
He wrecked the game.
He is unbelievable, dude. It's unbelievable.
Hey, don't let Michael Parsons hear that.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Well, hell, Michael played great too. It's so many talented players, man, and he literally owned the game. But for the Falcons, give them some time. I think they'll be fine. But I also think there was a little bit too much hype in this one, man. I think that this team was overhyped a little bit. I think people thought that Kirk Cousins was going to come in here and play like MVP South from last season, and that's just a tough reality, bro. That's a tough reality to say, hey, he's going to come in here and play like he was playing last season. He's got a lot of new players. I mean, he did follow Kyle Pitts for a touchdown. There you go. So he actually found one of his best receivers or targets. Not technically a receiver, should still be one, but he's got players on the outside. Decent players that he wasn't really moving the rock around too much. But for the Falcons, my biggest thing is like, okay, this team is an NFL team. They're gonna win. They're gonna win some. They're gonna lose some. They're gonna figure out their way throughout this season. There's a long season ahead. Can't overreact, but that's what we do. I mean, what else are we doing on here than overreacting? Yeah. But for the Falcons, this one's you learn a lot from though. You learn a lot from this one.
Hey, look, that's a tough loss for the Falcons. They get they play the Eagles on Monday night next week, and then they get the Chiefs on Sunday night.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's a tough way to start the year for the Falcons. And then after that, they play 3 division opponents the next 3 weeks. Dang, the Falcons get three primetime games to start the year, man. They got Falcons on primetime. A lot of people expected them to play good this year. That's a tough way to lose, but if you can ride on your defense and hope that they'll play good next week, you got your work cut out for you here with the Falcons. That's a tough loss. They're in kind of a similar spot we were in, where that first 5 weeks is just kind of a gauntlet.
I mean, we were saying before the game yesterday, bro, like the Panthers, this is a must-win. You hate to say week 1 is a must-win, but where our schedule's going after this, that was a must-win. Yesterday was a must-win for the Saints, and they did that. For the Falcons,
I remember saying that the car ride. It was just like, you don't want to say that about the first week of the year, but if we don't win this one, we could be really in trouble with the rest of our year. Yep. So, yeah, well, sucks to be the Falcons.
Sucks to be the Falcons, the dirty birds. Sucks to lose. All right. Yep, screw the Falcons. They're going to be the worst team in the league. All right, let's move on to another team in our division, a team that won the division last year that was honestly getting wrote off for some odd reason. Yeah, the Bucs. This team is still pretty good. Baker Mayfield, showing that the Browns made the stupidest decision of all time. The Bucs, sorry, Jesus. The Bucs start their quest to go back-to-back division champions. Should they still be the favorites after week 1, Nolan, for the South, NFC South? Do you think that they deserve that title to be the favorites? I know that means nothing in the NFL locker rooms, but as fans, should they be the favorites now?
You've been throwing all these questions at me, and I've had the first take all day long.
I
am throwing this back to you.
Okay.
This is on you.
Okay.
You get first take.
I like that. All right. I think they deserve it, honestly. I do think they deserve to be the favorites. I think it was disrespectful for them not to be the favorites coming into this year. I was telling Carson at lunch today that I was caught in the hype. I bought the hype for the Falcons, and I disrespected the Bucs. I didn't think the Bucs would be bad. I thought they'd be in the running for this division, but I'm starting to say, the Bucs were the division winners. They won a game in the playoffs. Guess what? This team's got a good quarterback in Baker. What was I just saying earlier? A decent quarterback. Baker is in that category, if not better than that. So when you look at this game for the Bucs, I know it's the Commanders and a team led by a rookie quarterback, a quarterback that didn't throw. I told you before the pod that his average yardage per pass in the air was 2.1 yards. That's not good. That's not good at all. Did run the ball very well, Jaden did, but for this Bucs team, coming into the season, you knew you had Rashad White, and we talked about it earlier. Bucky Irvin, the rookie from Oregon, he is going to be a star for this Tampa Bay team if he keeps playing like he played in that game. He is a NFL running back. Let's just say that. And then, obviously, you look through the rest of the team. I mean, Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. It's ridiculous that he can still do what he's doing, and Chris Godwin's still there. This team's got skill, and a team that had the best defense in this division last year still might have one of, if not the best defense in this division. I think the Saints have a very, very strong case in that conversation. But the Bucs, they're just an all-around solid team. They've got talent. They've got skill players. Their defense has been good. They've got a defensive-minded coach in Todd Bowles that is not afraid to let them guys go and fly around. They've got skill on the outside. For me, I think the Bucs definitely deserve that mantle, but what is a favorite in the NFC South? I think the NFC South favorite is like, they're plus 115 to the Saints or they're minus 115 to the Saints plus 115 for the division. I think it's almost a pick 'em at this point between Saints, Falcons, and the Bucs. But if you're asking me, I think the division champs should be considered the division champs until proven otherwise. Unless the team falls off completely and you lose like a Tom Brady or something. But but they got Baker Mayfield and they turn this thing around. So for me, I think they deserve that mantle. But that means absolutely nothing to these NFL teams in their locker rooms. And, for the Bucs, for the young talent they have and for them to get this win early, they got to feel good because they got some tough games ahead of them as well. They get the Lions next week. So,
look, man, I hate our division rivals so much. Oh my gosh. But I was watching the Bucs game yesterday, and I purposely kept it on even though it was making me mad. The first thought I had is that this Washington team is just young.
Yep.
Their quarterback is young. It was a welcome to the NFL type of game with how good the defense they have on the Bucs. It was kind of like when you're playing Madden and you're playing as a quarterback and it's your first year and you're trying to get something going, but your defense can't get a stop. It's like you're not going to win a lot of games in the NFL if you give up 37 points. But you can kind of win games if you score 20. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to have a really good defensive game for that. But, the offense was, like, not the worst part for me when it came to Washington. It was the Tampa Bay was able to do everything they wanted on offense. Mike Evans went crazy. Baker looked great. That Bucky Irvin, dude, man, when he started running, I looked at you in the car ride back from New Orleans, and I was like, dude, this guy is good. Where's this guy from? And, he showed out. He had 62 yards on 9 carries, which is crazy.
Jeez, yeah, that is.
Hit a big one hit a long one for 31. He was fun to watch, and Rashad White was there too, helping out. So they've got a little bit of a two-headed monster running back when it comes to Tampa Bay this year. It kind of looks like the Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay and New Orleans play the last game of the year this year. You know, you don't want to make too many assumptions after week 1, but there's a possibility that last game of the year could be a decider, which would be a lot of fun. A couple things I want to say is it feels like that the Bucs are definitely still a good team, and it feels like that the teams in the NFC South are going to be better, despite other than the Carolina Panthers. But it feels like the South will not be like the laughing stock of the league this year. Now, we might still be the worst one in the NFL when it comes to division champions, but I think that the division champion is going to be a team that probably is like a double-digit winner. I think they're going to be a 10-win team or an 11-win team this year. I don't feel like it's going to be like an 8-9 or 9-8 division champion this year. So, because Bucs have a lot of firepower on offense. We have a lot of firepower on offense. If the Falcons can figure out what they're going to do and can put something together and be cohesive, they have pieces that can score and stuff like that. So, so that's exciting. It looks like the NFC South is going to be a little bit more of a bloodbath. You said something about them replacing Brady. It's like, how could they have, they nailed it. Yeah. I don't know how you could have done any better. Because, the best thing about Baker is it's like Baker wasn't he wasn't like the best quarterback in the league. He had nothing to, all he had to do was just go play, and hopefully, you play well. Nobody's expecting you to go beat Tom Brady, and he's just going to do his thing. And the last thing I'll say is how, the Browns let him go. It's it looks so awful now. After everything that's happened, after all of the things that they've, all the trades and got him out of there and everything, it's like the Browns look like the dumb team now. And it's crazy that the Browns did that. I've said it ever since they did it. The moment you got somewhat of a competent quarterback, you got rid of him. Someone that proved that he could win football games, and they got rid of him. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that they did that. Because Deshaun ain't been the same. But this is not about the Browns. This is about, this is about the Bucs. And so it looks like the Bucs are going to be a respectful team this year. And I think that until they play the Saints, that they'll be okay.
Damn right. The quick little point to the Browns point, though. I mean, I was talking to this Carson. It's that's the most Browns thing of all time. You finally have a quarterback that's gonna get better. That's shown that the team likes him. Besides Odell, I guess. But
it's like you let one player completely take down the entire franchise. It's like, I don't know. I just, it baffles my mind. I still, to this day, it's like, why would you get rid of this guy? He had one bad season. He was injured.
Yep. Really injured. Really injured.
He was hurt.
Torn labrum in his throwing arm, throwing shoulder. That's tough. That's a hard injury to even play through, let alone not play through. He played through it. Now, it's ridiculous. I get it. And, man, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. But, Baker, he's a guy that I hate in our division because I love his grit. I love his moxie. I love the player he is. I can't like him because he's on the Bucs, but yeah.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that the South is going to be better this year? Is that the first vibe you got? Does it feel like it's going to be a lot better than last year?
Oh, I think it's going to be better than last year. I think there's just the teams are going to be overall better. I think we still might have the worst team in the league with the Panthers, but I think the top three are all viable champs and talent-wise, and now it's just about which team can put it all together. I think the Bucs and the Saints both have two of the best defenses in the league, and talent-wise, I mean, the Falcons are way up there, man. I mean, they've got talent everywhere. Maybe they kind of do have a retirement home in a little bit. You know, you got some older players, but they also got a lot of young players as well, you know, and it's interesting. I'm so curious how they bounce back, but you know, for the Saints, man, I mean, for the Bucs, it's crazy how this all unfolded with Tom and them landing Baker after what Baker went through, and for him to ball out like he did last week and, you know, keep doing it, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's the most Brown thing ever for them to get rid of their quarterback, to replace him with a guy. That was a point I wanted to make, and we'll move on to the keys to the next game. But I saw a post how, for the fans that want Deshaun Watson to get cut for Jameis to start, that's already started, by the way. Browns fans are already asking for Winston to become the starter. That's how quick it happens. Welcome to the Saints freaking world, Browns fans. One bad game and it's over. But I saw the dead cap. If he is cut today, the dead cap would be over $120 million. And if he gets cut next year, it's still $90 million. And if he gets cut after the 2025 season, it's still $70 million. Yeah. It's the most untradeable contract on the planet. It's the most uncuttable contract on the planet. His agent has to be like the greatest agent of all time.
I mean, finesse, dude. Completely finesse this entire organization. What organization would make a contract like that?
Nope. Doesn't make sense. And it makes sense why he signed there. You know, we were in the running. Remember when Deshaun was out there? Us, the Falcons, and the Browns.
Yeah, when you get offered a contract that nobody else in the entire NFL would ever offer because you're stupid. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Deshaun for taking it at all. It's like, you know, it's like the guy that lied on his resume and ends up getting the job. It's like,
yeah. I mean, hell, Dak got paid though, man. He got paid. His contract was more guaranteed.
Well, Bill Belichick said in 2 years that'll be a normal contract.
Yeah, you saw that. Yeah, he did. He said that's the thing now. It's like these caps are just flying. They fly up, and $60 million in 2 years is going to be a deal. You know? It's crazy, man. It's so crazy how much these guys get paid. But yeah, let's move on to Dak. Let's move on to that game next week and wrap up this podcast, y'all. Obviously, once again, a little quick reminder on all podcast platforms. You can find Bayou Breauxs as well on YouTube on Nate Dogg Sports. But yes, Nolan, let's talk about that Dallas game. What a game we have in front of us. A game after we played probably the worst team in the league, and now we get to play one of the better teams in the league. And the Cowboys, they looked good last week. They look like a Cowboys team in the regular season like they always do. Beating down the Browns, a team that was really hyped up, and obviously we've talked a lot of smack about Deshaun Watson. They did not look good yesterday. They did not. The Cowboys really just took absolute control. Ezekiel Elliott finding the end zone. Crazy. He's back, and it feels like that he gave them a boost of energy for that team. And obviously CeeDee Lamb is still that guy, and Brandon Cooks found the end zone as well. Turpin, what a freaking kid that is. I mean, they hit on that. Freaking the returner for the Dallas Cowboys, paying him nothing. Turpin is a freaking animal, man. And then the defense, man, they showed up, did they not? Eric Kendricks, 2 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence, 2 sacks. Overshown, 1 sack. Michael Parsons, a sack. They had 6 sacks overall, man. They were all over the field. Big plays for this team. And for a team like the Browns, that their defense was that was the big talking point last year, is how good their defense was. Well, they allowed 33 to those teams. So I'll start us off here again with this recap, you know, with Dallas, you know. Wow, how crazy week ones can be, because this should have been the best game of the weekend. One of the best games of the weekend. And, man, the Cowboys showed up and showed out. You know, for them to look that good and the offense not have to do much, that's a big win for them. You know, Dak doesn't even go for over 200 yards, only 1 touchdown. They barely rush over 100 yards. Offensively, they looked efficient, but, you know, defensively that's the biggest thing for him. Mike Zimmer now, defensive coordinator over there. Big day for their defense. And, you know, holding Deshaun Watson to, he must have got sacked he got sacked for 6 times. So, yeah, 6 times he got sacked for 32 yards. So he only had technically 137 passing yards, and they held him to under 100 rushing yards. So, man, like, what a performance for the Cowboys, but I think this is also one of those conversations that you need to have about how good is the Browns? How good are the Browns? Like, are they actually that team? Are they actually pretty good? I don't know, man. I don't know. But, for Dallas, hell of a start to the season. They do what they usually do in the regular season and win, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But, in a game that they have before the Saints that put up 47, 33, 47, those are two humming offenses. But, the defenses are also showing up.
Look, it's so easy to say it after the fact and after they've played, but I haven't understood the Browns' hype.
I thought their defense would be better. I thought their defense
that's
would be
fair.
better.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah. But the offense was even struggling last year and they had Deshaun. I know Deshaun got hurt, but Deshaun hadn't played football.
Bro, he can't stay healthy.
That's what they said. He hasn't played a snap since I can't remember the timetable, but it was around the Thanksgiving-ish.
Yeah, because he didn't play no preseason either because he was nursing something. They didn't.
So he was rusty, man. Really rusty. So, the Cowboys are going to be good. Their defense is crazy good. You look at all the things. They had 6 sacks for the Dallas defense, but they hit the QB 17 times.
Good God, that's a crazy stat.
They hit the QB 17 times. So, and then for us, we gave up 1 sack and gave up 1 QB hit. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the game right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is, and we'll talk about our keys to the game, and that's something that is extremely noticeable right off the bat. You protect your QB, you're going to be good. You don't, Cowboys are going to take advantage because – I mean, their edge rushers are crazy. The craziest part is it didn't feel like their offense had to do anything crazy. Zeke had 40 yards. They had over 100 yards rushing. They had a little over 100 yards passing. So, it was it didn't they won 33-17, but it just didn't ever feel like that the Browns ever had really much of a shot. They were kind of just able to do what they needed to do and whenever they wanted to do it. So. I think that the Browns are – you don't want to say too much about how good or bad the Browns are going to be yet because it's still week 1. They're working things out. But I think the Browns aren't as good of a team as people were kind of hyping them up to be to start the year. And this is the Cowboys. The Cowboys are always, they have a great coach. They have a good quarterback. This is the Cowboys. So, you know how the Cowboys are. They can win big and they can lose big. So let's hope that the Saints can do the latter of the two. So, I think that the keys to the game are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I'll tell you one little thing about that Browns game is that they had two new tackles, very young tackles, and you saw them get abused badly. But and so that's a big key that I was looking at in that game. So I'll let you start though on those keys, man. What's you thinking on this?
All right, I'm going in Coach Lee mode here. So. The number one priority, and Tom Brady talked about it too, I mean, it's just so obvious, is protection. If the Saints are going to win, they have to protect Derek Carr. They have to be very low on the sack numbers. Third down sacks are not who cares about a third down sack? You're trying to make a play, but these first, second down sacks, here's the biggest thing. Saints proved yesterday that they're going to, other than a few plays, they're going to get the ball out of Derek's hands very quickly. They're going to get the ball out of his hands quickly, and I think that they should do that. We need to get ready for a really aggressive D-line. We need to get ready for aggressive corners. If we're getting the ball out quick, that means we need to find a way to scheme players to get open and be able to run. So you think you can expect a lot of Alvin Kamara screen-type plays. Maybe Alvin Kamara kind of in the slot, trying to get on their, on one of their weaker corners. So protection is the biggest thing. We have to establish the run game too. If we're going to win, we need to have variety. That was the whole reason why we were so good against Carolina. We ran the ball. We had so many rushing yards in our win against Carolina. It was so, you didn't know what to expect. You didn't know what play was coming. And also when you have to be able to run the ball, our O-line is going to protect better. It's just simple. Those two go together. So if we're going to establish the running game, especially getting Jamal Williams involved, dude. If we can get him going, that would be incredible for us because he needs. He had such a down year last year. It was like almost like he didn't. I mean, he was injured and having to deal with that, but it felt like he wasn't even like a part of the team last year. If we can get him going and give him some confidence, because that dude can play, he's good. We get him running between the tackles, getting those close yards, having Taysom run the ball too. We'll be good there. And then I think on the opposite side of the ball is take advantage of Dak, make Dak uncomfortable, really stifle their run game because their running backs aren't anything to write home about. So you don't know how good Zeke's going to be. You had an okay game this past week. So if we can make Dallas one-dimensional on offense and then send our guys and put some pressure on Dak, keep him in the pocket, I think that we have a really good chance of winning the game. What do you think about ways for us to win?
Yeah, I like your keys, man, and they're solid. For me, on the offensive side of the ball, actually, I'm going to start defensively. I'm going to start on the defensive side of the ball, and something that Dallas struggled with, even though they won against the Browns, is that they had troubles getting into third and manageables. They had a lot of negative plays on second and third down, or first and second down. So I think for the Saints, you got to have these guys in second and longs, third and longs. Force them to pass the ball. You cannot let this team be able to run the ball on third down or even have these short passes on third down. Those third and fours and third and sixes, pretty much third and six and up, we got to avoid those at all costs defensively because they are very good on third down. They showed that they could come back on third down in this game. I'm actually curious, what was their third down percentage?
What were their third down numbers?
They actually were pretty terrible, but they were 4th and 14, but they were putting themselves in really tough situations is my point. So if the Saints could get this team to third down, keep the chains in their advantage, don't let them stay ahead of the chains, that's a big thing for the Saints. And turnovers, you got to find a way to get Dak to turn that ball over. As much crap as Dak gets, he is a pretty smart quarterback when it comes to turning over the ball. Sometimes he makes a bad decision or he just makes a bad pass, it just doesn't come out the hand right. But, in general, that's one of his best traits is his decision making. So you got to find a way to get Dak into some tough situations to make those riskier throws. And you said it too. I got that pass rush. If they can just find a way to make them one-dimensional, man. And then you can maybe play back and only rush 4. If we can find a way to get ahead of this offensive line, that'd be big. But offensively, it's so interesting for me because watching how we set up a lot of things in that Panthers game, it feels like we're going to have to do the same thing. And I loved your point. That this defense with Dallas is aggressive. And we have got to find a way to take advantage of that. And I think taking advantage of that is, like you said, you got to find ways to get these guys on the outside and, find the short plays, find those screens, find those bubble screens, get these guys running sideline to sideline. But then those plays are going to set up the deep shot. You've got to get these guys closer to the line of scrimmage and then send Rashid Shaheed on that go. He's going to burn. Diggs is back, but their other guy, because Diggs will probably be on Olave. So, man, I'm just saying, Clint Kubiak's offense is so beautiful to see because it reminds me so much more of a Sean Payton offense, even though Sean Payton's offense was never really a heavy motion, and the scheme itself is different than Sean's, but his plays, there was never throwaway plays with Sean. Never. Every single play had meaning behind it. He is going to run this play in the first quarter to show you the same look in the third quarter, but run a different play out of it. And we saw so much of that with Clint Kubiak. And I trust that he's going to come up with a game plan to get these guys closer to the line of scrimmage and find those shot plays, because that's a big difference for the Saints. We did not have a lot of shot plays last year. And that is a great way to attack an aggressive team. We've seen it last year with Dallas. If they can't get a pass rush on you and you can find that deep ball, man, it's a long day for the defense for Dallas. So I think that's a big thing for us. And we got to find a way to get this Dallas offense in second and longs and third and longs.
Well, yeah, look, you look at the stats, and I just found this gem. Cleveland lost by basically 2 scores, essentially. I'm not doing the math. Yeah, so 16 points. Mm-hmm. So it's 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. They had 2 turnovers. You go look through all the rest of the stats. The stats are pretty similar across the board.
Yep.
Dallas's offense didn't do anything crazy.
Nope.
And Dallas was really penalized too.
And they were.
So, Dallas didn't go crazy. I mean, the score, it was such a big lead by Dallas. It kind of covered up some of the I feel like that for Dallas, I think that they played so good. They had such a good score in the game that some of the flaws aren't really being talked about.
Yep.
Which is a good thing. I like that a lot. So I hope that keeps going. But, there's a real serious thing here at running back that looks like something that we could really exploit if we can really keep our front 7 close and be able to tackle for 1-2 yard gains or even tackles for losses. I think we're going to be a good spot because you give Derek Carr a 4-14 on 3rd down, you have to think that they're going to be able to find more than 17 points. You have to think that.
Yep. And, and speaking about the running backs is that it's crazy because it's honestly wild that Ezekiel Elliott got more carries than Rico Dowdle because I think Rico is honestly a pretty solid player. We got to watch him on the outside because he's got speed. But another guy that I just was looking at the stats, we got to be smart on our freaking coverage team, man. We got to be smart special teams wise because Kevontae Turpin, that dude is an animal. That dude will return one in a second. He is fast and he is really good at punt returns and kickoff returns. And another thing, Brandon Aubrey. Did you see what happened at the end of the half, bro? They lined up.
I missed that.
They lined up for a
70-yarder,
66-yarder, right? And then they get a penalty. He makes it. Then they got a penalty before it. He goes up for the 71-yarder. He's about to kick it, and they time out to ice him. But then the Cowboys, after the ice, they decided to just punt it. Yeah, crazy. I
saw the picture of him lining up for the 70-yarder.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything more about it other than that. That's crazy. Yeah. Wow,
he wanted to kick it too.
So good.
They iced him and he was staying on the field. It was like, come on. And I was like, oh my god, he cleared that 66-yarder too. Cleared it easily. That is a fine. That is a fine. Brandon Aubrey, the luck for the Cowboys to find this kid out of nowhere, dude. Nowhere.
Dude, Brandon Aubrey's great, man. That dude put up 23 points for me in fantasy, man. I love that. He cooks, dude.
Oh, that's funny. That's good.
I'm about to go find a different fantasy defense this week. I'd be crazy to take the Cowboys defense out, but
God,
I don't want them to be. I don't want them to be good.
No, you're gonna have to find something.
If this Saints offense plays like they did this past week against the Cowboys, well, my fantasy team is screwed then.
Yeah, exactly. Hell, I want it to look that bad, right?
Right?
Sheesh, man. Nah, but you're right. And when Trayvon Diggs out there getting interceptions and this team getting so many sacks, though, we know what the keys are, it feels like, on the fan base side. Obviously, they're going to do more scheming and stuff and find the intricacies and how to actually do that. But it just feels like all of our points are valid, I mean, just efficiency. Don't turn the ball over. Don't allow free points on returns and kickoffs and all that. Bill Belichick said it. It's like the benefit of like a kickoff return or a punt block or a field goal block return for a touchdown. It's like those are just free points, man. You can't expect those things, but you got to scheme against them.
It was also I was going to make it a part of my ways to win the game was that we need to find a way to steal a possession.
Yep.
We need to find a way to steal a possession or two, whether it's I wouldn't consider a kick return a stealing a possession, but man, that explosive plays go a long way. So maybe like a kick return or a punt return or a punt block for a touchdown or
pick six,
a pick six or something. Exactly. So if we can find a way to kind of get some of those little wins within the game, I think that we'll be set. Did you have anything for kind of the negatives, the way we could lose the game?
Yeah, man. I mean, just, negatively. Sorry, my earpiece fell out. But no, man. I mean, just negatively wise, the biggest thing is that the offense takes another step back, or the defense gets a little flustered by an actual decent offense. Those are my biggest things is that, hey, we got to stay locked in. Defensively, prepare for a lot harder of a game. Especially if Marshawn's not playing, representing. Heal up, brother. Heal up.
Oh, man.
If he's out and CD's got a Debo on him, and I love a Debo, but I mean that's just tough. That's tough. But at least
luckily,
we got. Yep. You're saying it.
Luckily, our DBs are pretty good, so that makes me happy.
Yep. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. At least we got depth at that position. I'm not uncomfortable, with Kool-Aid coming in and playing the slot if he's got to. But
that'd be cool.
It would be cool. But yeah, the Saints have just got to find a way to manage this game. And it sounds like I'm saying play not to lose, but they've got to manage this game. They cannot let anything get out of their grasp. And
I think not to cut you off, man, sorry, but it kind of feels like you're trying to say make the offense uncomfortable. Don't let the offense ever get established. Almost we almost need to kind of play keep away a little bit. Go on long drives. If we hit an explosive play, we hit explosive plays, but just kind of make the team frustrated. Make Dallas feel like they can't stop us. Make the offense feel like they can't get anything in a rhythm, in a flow. So I had a couple of points for the way to lose was if we become one dimensional, we can't get a run game going. So it's kind of the opposite of. It's really a lot of my ways to lose is just the opposite of my wins. So if we become one dimensional and everything becomes on Derek's shoulders, then that's when Pennings doesn't play as well. That's when you're worried about your rookie your rookie guard and Taliesin Fuaga. Sorry, I'm struggling with that name, but he's a dog. He played good. And then my other one, it kind of goes towards my point about the offensive line is that if you let Micah Parsons become a factor, that could be really bad. I'm very curious to see where Micah Parsons lines up against us. Are they going to try to attack Trevor?
Because I saw a stat that he was 77. I can't remember the stats, but I'll just say about 90% of his snaps were on the edge, and then he had 2 snaps at defensive tackle, and then he had a couple of more snaps than that at linebacker. So we're going to see him on the edge. We're going to see him on the edge.
They move him around. Are they going to put him up against our rookie and Trevor and just say,
beat us?
Let these guys stop us. Make these guys, these 2 guys that you're worried about, stop us. Stop tough, me, man. Essentially. That is something I'm looking forward to seeing where Micah lines up on every play.
And DeMarcus Lawrence, because guess what? That's on the opposite side, man. That's 2 defensive ends. That's tough.
I was just about to say the same thing. So wherever you got, one of those boys needs to be. If I'm Dallas, you're going to put him on your weaker offense, the guys that you've heard that there are struggles about. So I'm excited to see, man. Trevor's got an opportunity here this week to really play and stack what he's been doing. So I'm excited.
Yeah, in general, most of the time, DeMarcus does play on Penning's side. So hopefully
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, true.
That's still terrifying. DeMarcus Lawrence is still an absolute animal. At least it's not Micah Parsons who's that dude is a freak, dude. Did you see that pick he almost had?
No.
He jumped straight up and almost caught it on the line of scrimmage, dude. He's a freak, dude. He's a freak athlete, man. He doesn't even make sense. But yeah, Michael Parsons an animal, and even Fuaga's got his night cut out for him. We've got to find a way to chip him and hit him with as many blockers as possible. But it leans back to you, dude. You've got to get those pass rushers taking just a split second, just a little delay in everything they do with that run game. If you can get that run game going, it just that, I'm telling you, a millisecond for Micah Parsons to get off the ball a little bit slower is a win for the Saints. That is a win if you can just get him to slow down just a little bit. But
I'm excited to see our protection plan against this defense.
Yeah,
they'll have a plan.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we see Derek on the outside the pocket a little bit more too, kind of
rolling out a little bit more.
Rolling out more.
Maybe see a little bit more Jamal to get some chips.
Yep. And Foster Moreau might hit him with some chips. So
and Taysom will probably be out there too. You might see a lot of Taysom in the backfield.
Yep.
Just running the ball and just as someone to kind of find where to protect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And them getting Eric Kendricks, I mean, Jesus, that dude was he was on the free agent last year, just a free agent. He comes in and has 9 total tackles this week and 2 sacks. I mean, that it's crazy because Bill Belichick was saying it during Pat McAfee. He was like, Dallas is as much as they get crap for. I mean, you got to give Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones some freaking credit for building this team. This team is good, and for them to have all this other talent on top of being able to pay Dak, pay CD, you got to pay Micah next. It's like for them to be able to pull that off and keep some solid players around them, got to give them some credit. I know they get a lot of crap, and they haven't won a championship in forever. I know, but this team's good, man, and the Saints got a lot. They got a lot cut out for them in this one, man.
Like, we say it every year, and I'll probably regret ever saying this, but, this is a team that can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Genuinely, they can win the Super Bowl. They have a good They have a good enough quarterback. They have, they have a solid defense. Like you said, they've paid a bunch of their guys. They have a very good head coach that's won a Super Bowl. We're playing against a team that, if we want to achieve what we think we can achieve, this is a team we're going to have to go through. We may see this team again. And if we see this team again, it would be incredible to host it in New Orleans.
Oh.
You know what I mean? That's I would love if that was DA's message to the team. It's like, guys, we're going to have to run into these guys again. Let's make sure that we play this game in New Orleans.
Yeah, hey, this is game one. This is our game one against them.
This is game one.
Golly.
Exactly.
And that would be insane, man. But I hope that we're coming on this pod next week and be like, damn, the Cowboys suck. They're not making the playoffs.
Me too. Oh, they're the Cowboys. We're back.
We're back. No. Hopefully Dak's saying, no. Wait. I had to get that one in there. Hopefully Dak's saying it at the end during the game,
Nailed it. You nailed it. Hey, Nate, what was Bryce Young saying on the first play last week?
No. Wait. Oh my gosh, Jesus! Well, I think that's a hell of a way for us to end this podcast, my brother.
That's a great way to end.
Golly, hope for the Saints to win. Give me a score prediction, Nolan. I know we don't do predictions, but we have the Saints always winning. Give me your score prediction.
Saints are winning 70-3, baby. Let's go. Bring it up.
70-3.
We're going to the Super Bowl. I am so high right now on the Saints going back to the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Let's go.
Love it. Hell yeah. This has been Bayou Breauxs. Find us on all podcast platforms and social medias. We'll be posting all this about our first 2 episodes coming this week. This will be dropping every Wednesday. YouTube, Nate Dogg Sports. Find us on everything. This was presented by Nate Dogg Sports and produced by Nate Dogg Productions. I'm your co-host, Nate Dogg. That is Nolan Lee, also the co-host. This has been Bayou Breauxs episode 2. Peace.